Earlier this year, I was blessed to take the third sabbatical that I have experienced during my ministry. And on this occasion, I had chosen to focus on the theology of God as midwife. It's an image that's not particularly prolific in Scripture, but it is there. And it provided me with a rich vein of study material, as well as an excuse to watch most of the episodes of Call the Midwife, one of my favourite programmes, all over again. Part of the reason for wanting to focus upon this theme was our current emphasis within the connection on new places for new people, and therefore our desire to bring new things to birth. Whilst thinking about the theology of God as midwife, there was also much to learn about what the characteristics of midwifery might mean for us as presbyters, as disciples, and as the church. And I was hoping that some of that learning would feed into our own district's New Places for New People work. Some deep theological themes, such as deliverance, liberation, vulnerability, empowerment, and nurture, all emerged during my study. But just for a few minutes, I want to link some of the characteristics that a midwife displays with some of what I have seen in evidence across the Sheffield District during the pandemic, and to do that by telling you about two initiatives in different parts of the district with very different groups of people. At Wesley Hall Methodist Church at Crooks in Sheffield, their pre-teen and youth worker, Sean, had been running drop-in on a Tuesday night after school, inviting young people to come and play board games, table tennis, card games and mini snooker and the like. There was also a games console set up, hot chocolate and ice cream provided, and there was always the chance for longer conversations on a particular subject or focused on a passage of scripture. When the pandemic hit, the drop-in wanted to continue being alongside all those young people, offering them a safe place to be and still providing them with nourishment, both spiritual and of the chocolatey kind. So Sean and his team took their time in working out how that could happen. And just about a year ago now, the drop-in reopened and has received almost 1,700 visits from young people and approximately 100 visits from adults during that time. The numbers arriving each week keep increasing as the young people bring more and more of their friends along. And when the new term starts in September, there are plans to increase the opportunities for spiritual conversation and learning, so that this really does become a place where disciples are nurtured and grow. Elsewhere in the district, across the multi-site Northwest Church in the Barnsley Circuit, led by their older people's support worker Carol, members have been identifying more and more people in their communities who have been especially isolated and lonely during the pandemic. And on several occasions during the last year, volunteers have made deliveries to all those that they've identified in an attempt to bring a smile to their faces and something of the love of Christ into their lives. At Christmas, those that they'd identified received gift bags before Christmas, followed by Christmas dinner in a bag on Christmas Day itself. For Valentine's Day, hundreds and hundreds of hearts were sewn or knitted, and local schools helped to make Valentine's cards. And all of these were distributed in the parks and local shops across the communities, accompanied by appropriate verses of Scripture for anyone and everyone to find, whilst the lonely and elderly all received cream teas to brighten their Valentine's Day. At Easter, the goodie bag deliveries included chocolate eggs and hot cross buns, knitted crosses and napkins with the story of Easter. And since Easter, the deliveries have included bags of blessings and Wimbledon-themed goodie bags. And much of this has been achieved by working in partnership with generous shop owners, local schools and other charities, as well, of course, as the commitment of a large band of willing volunteers. My sabbatical studies have reminded me that, amongst other things, midwives display patience, offer support, provide encouragement and are generally unobtrusive, until the situation demands that they be otherwise. It seems to me that in Barnsley and in Crooks, Sheffield, these amazing people are looking to offer support and encouragement to the young and the elderly at a time which has been particularly difficult and painful for many of them. They are quietly getting on with their incredible initiatives in ways that don't highlight their own efforts, but put the needs of others first. And above all, it seems to me that they are patiently nurturing these relationships as they journey alongside others, waiting for those moments when something new emerges, when some new disciples are born. I'm really looking forward to hearing more about what happens in each of these places, as indeed in other places across the district, as a result of the faithfulness of those whose stories I've told and many other faithful disciples too. But I'm also really looking forward to seeing more and more midwives in action, bringing new things to birth, as we all seek to become more like God the midwife, in whose image we are made.